Welcome back, everyone, to the Game Loop Recap. And wow, what a week, huh?
Oh, yeah. Huge news.
The big one. Obviously, Nintendo finally did it. They dropped the Direct. The Nintendo Switch 2 is official. The hype has been building for so long.
It really has. Years of rumors, and now we've actually seen it. Feels like a big moment for Nintendo and for gaming generally.
Totally. So today, we're going to break down everything that came out of that Direct. What's new, what looks cool, and yeah, some of the trickier stuff, too.
Definitely a lot to unpack. They didn't just show the console, they came out swinging with games, too.
Right. Kicked off with Mario Kart World, a brand new one, exclusive to Switch 2. And they gave us the date, June 5th. Not too far away now.
Launching with a new Mario Kart, that's classic Nintendo, big system seller right out of the gate.
Exactly. But, okay, let's start with the console itself.
Yeah.
The hardware, what are we looking at? First thing, the screen is bigger.
Yep, 7.9 inches. So a decent size increase compared to the original Switch models. Should make handheld play feel a bit more substantial.
Yeah. Not just bigger, but better resolution too, right?
Yeah, significantly better. They're saying roughly double the pixels of the original Switch.
Right.
So you're getting 1080p resolution right there in handheld mode. That's a big jump visually.
And they mentioned the screen tech itself, more vivid LCD, and crucially, HDR support.
Right, HDR, high dynamic range. For anyone not familiar, it basically means, brighter brights, darker darks, more vibrant colors overall. Makes the image just pop more.
Definitely a push for a more modern look. Okay, moving on to the controllers. Joy-Con 2. What's new there?
Well, first up, they connect magnetically, which sounds maybe a bit cleaner, more secure, perhaps.
Could be. And they seem to have tweaked the design based on feedback.
Yeah, the little SL and SR buttons on the side, they're supposedly stronger, more comfortable, and the analog sticks are larger, too.
Good changes. The originals could feel a bit cramped sometimes.
Definitely. But the really interesting bit is on the right Joy-Con 2.
The C button.
Exactly. A totally new button. In the demos, it looked like it was mainly for bringing up a chat menu in games. Could be handy for online play.
Yeah, streamlining communication. And speaking of controls, they showed off something kind of wild.
The mouse functionality?
Yeah. Using the gyro sensors inside the Joy-Con 2 to mimic mouse movement. They used a golf game example. Looked pretty smooth.
It's a clever idea, honestly. Adds versatility without needing extra hardware. Could be really good for, strategy games or point-and-click stuff. Sort of bridges that console-PC gap a little.
Audio's getting an upgrade, too, apparently. Clearer speakers built in.
And a built-in microphone, which is great for game chat without needing a headset all the time. Plus, adjustable audio balance, little quality of life improvement.
And remember the kickstand on the first Switch?
Oh, yeah. The flimsy one.
Huh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this new one looks much, much better. Large, sturdy, adjustable. Should make tabletop mode actually usable.
That's a genuinely practical upgrade, much needed.
Connectivity-wise, USB ports on the bottom and the top. That top one could be useful for accessories, like that camera they mentioned.
We'll get to that. But yeah, more ports is always good. And the storage.
Huge jump. 256 gigabytes internally.
Yeah.
That's 8 times the original base model.
Finally. That's a massive relief. Less reliance on micro SD cards right away. Plus, they're saying faster read-write speed, so faster loading.
Good, good. And for TV players.
Still docks, obviously.
Yep, supports TV output. And it'll do upscaling in HDR on compatible TVs, too. So games should look sharper and more vibrant on the big screen.
To handle all this, presumably more power, there's a built-in fan.
Makes sense. Need active cooling to keep performance stable, especially with potentially more demanding games. Prevent throttling.
Now, the big one for current owners. Backward compatibility.
Yes, confirmed. It'll play existing Nintendo Switch games. They said NSG, but yeah, that means your current library carries over. Huge win.
Massive. And there's this weird new feature, wake communication. Right, this sounded interesting. Local multiplayer, up to 4 consoles, but you only need 1 copy of the game.
Yeah, and it works between Switch 2s and original Switches, too.
That's really cool. Great for families or friend groups. Lowers the barrier for playing together locally.
Okay, and you mentioned accessories. There's a new camera.
Yeah, the Nintendo Switch 2 camera launches alongside the console. Seems like it's for game chat, maybe some specific game features. They showed it with the new Mario Party.
Ah, right, which ties into the whole integrated game chat system.
Exactly, built into the system now.
Yeah.
Requires Nintendo Switch Online, though they mentioned a free trial period.
And parental controls, too. Guardian Switch. Always important.
Definitely. And transferring your stuff from your old Switch sounds pretty easy.
The whole transfer function. Just log in with your Nintendo account, and saves and digital games should come across.
Should be smooth. That's crucial for encouraging upgrades.
All right, so that's the hardware. Impressive upgrades across the board, feels like. But the games,
Yeah,
that's where the real excitement is, right?
always. And they showed a lot.
We mentioned Mario Kart World already. Brand new, built for Switch 2, races across the globe, changing time of day, weather. Sounds ambitious.
And that scenic drives mode for photos, tapping into that social sharing trend, it looks like a proper evolution for Mario Kart.
Then there's Super Mario Party Jamboree. This one's coming to both Switches, but the Switch 2 version gets extra stuff.
Right, like using that new camera to see other players' reactions in real time, that sounds potentially hilarious.
Totally. And new mini games using the camera, mic, mouse controls, rumble, really leaning into the new hardware features.
Shows they're thinking about how the tech enhances the gameplay, not just raw power.
Okay, big guns time. Zelda. Enhanced editions of both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom for Switch 2.
Better resolution, better frame rates, HDR support, making those gorgeous worlds even more impressive.
But the really cool bit is this Zelda Notes thing.
Yeah, a smartphone app integration via the Nintendo Switch app. Things like location guidance, sharing creations with QR codes.
That's pretty innovative. Extends the game beyond the console itself.
Yeah, fostering that community aspect.
Then there's Kirby. They said, return to Dreamland Deluxe Switch 2 Edition. But that seems maybe wrong.
Yeah, that felt like a possible slip-up. More likely, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, maybe. A more recent 3D title.
Makes more sense. Either way, improved graphics, frame rate, and some exclusive new story content for whichever Kirby it is on Switch 2.
Still a good incentive for Kirby fans to check out the new hardware version.
Metroid Prime 4. Beyond. Finally, coming to both Switch and Switch 2.
Which is great news. But the Switch 2 version gets some serious upgrades.
Mouse control option. That could be a game changer for a first-person shooter like Prime.
Absolutely. And graphical options, too. Either 4K 60 FPS or full HD 120 FPS, both with HDR. That's a level of choice you don't often see on consoles.
Catering to different priorities, immersion versus smoothness. Smart.
Very smart.
Pokemon Legends ZA also coming to both systems. Switch 2 version gets the expected graphical and performance boost.
Which should make exploring Lumiose City feel, smoother and look richer. These open-world Pokemon games benefit a lot from better performance.
Then there was a totally new IP, Dragon Drive.
This one looked really unique. Switch 2 exclusive. Uses two Joy-Con 2s for some kind of two-handed mouse-style control for team battles.
Yeah, sounded intriguing. Definitely experimental. Shows they're still playing with control ideas.
Always good to see Nintendo trying new things.
And the third-party support looks, well, huge.
Seriously strong lineup announced already.
Hades 2, Street Fighter 6 with Switch 2 exclusive modes and Emmy Borbo card things.
Yeah, Arbo Cards. Interesting name. We'll have to see what that is.
EA Sports FC, Madison NF, Hogwarts Legacy, Hitman World of Assassination, a new James Bond game.
Bravely Default HD 2D remaster, likely. Like a Dragon Zero Director's Cut, Borderlands, Civ 7 with mouse control.
WWE 2K, NBA 2K, Terraria, Dave the Diver, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade.
And a brand new title from Software. That's massive news in itself.
It's an absolutely stacked list right near launch, shows huge confidence from third parties.
And many seem to be using the Switch 2 features, not just straight ports. That's encouraging.
They also nodded to collaborations like Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity with Koei Tecmo.
Those partnerships often yield really interesting results.
Okay, but maybe the biggest surprise for longtime fans, Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack.
Oh, yeah. This was huge.
GameCube games, exclusive to the Switch 2 tier at launch.
About time. So many classics people have been asking for. Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, F-Zero GX.
And F-Zero GX with multiplayer. They're promising improved visuals, higher resolution, customizable controls, more games coming later too.
This is a massive value add for the online service on Switch 2, and the dedicated controller.
Right. A wireless GameCube controller for NSO members with the C-Stick doubling as a chat button. Perfect nostalgia hit.
They know their audience with that one.
But wait, there's more. Still reeling from this one, Mr. Sakurai.
Kirby's Air Ride. A new one, after 22 years.
Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah.
That game has such a cult following. Incredible news.
Absolutely wild. Can't wait to see what a modern take on that looks like.
And finally, one more new first-party title. Donkey Kong Bonanza.
A new 3D DK action game. Smashing stuff with banana power, exploring underground. Sounds chaotic and fun.
Definitely feels like a good fit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hardware looks great. Game lineup is incredible. GameCube games, It all sounds amazing, right?
It does sound really, really impressive on paper. The tech, the games, lots to be excited about, but
But, yeah, there's always a but, isn't there? The other side of the coin, the price, and the pre-order situation, particularly in the U.S.
yes, the reaction to the price has been, let's just say, very noticeable. It's definitely stirred things up.
So the console itself, $450 USD.
Which is, a fair bit higher than the original Switch launch price.
And key first-party games like Mario Kart World and the Zelda. Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 edition are priced at $80.
$80. That's also new territory for standard Nintendo first-party pricing. A jump from the usual $60 or sometimes $70.
And fans noticed immediately. The Treehouse stream after the Direct. It was just wall-to-wall drop the price comments for like an hour straight. Didn't matter what game they showed.
That's pretty overwhelming feedback. Shows a real sticking point for a lot of people. Price sensitivity is clearly high.
And then, adding fuel to the fire, U.S. pre-orders, supposed to start April 9th. Delayed.
Right, and Nintendo's reason was very specific, in order to assess the potential impact of tariffs and evolving market conditions.
Tariffs. That word hangs heavy here. It seems this is directly linked to new tariffs from the Trump administration that went into effect like April 5th.
Yeah, it looks like a major factor. We're talking a potential 10% blanket tariff, plus targeted ones 34% on China, up to 46% on Vietnam.
Vietnam being a key manufacturing hub for the Switch 2.
Exactly. And even 49% on Cambodia, another place Nintendo uses. Those are massive potential cost increases for importing the console.
So the fear is those costs get passed on. Analysts are already throwing numbers around. Could the U.S. price go over $600?
It's certainly a possibility analysts are discussing. If Nintendo has to absorb those tariffs entirely or pass them on, that $450 could climb significantly. That changes the value proposition quite a bit.
Now, maybe Nintendo already baked some buffer into that $450, hoping to absorb some of it. They did start moving manufacturing out of China to Vietnam, partly because of earlier trade issues.
It's possible they anticipated some level of cost increase, but maybe not this much or this suddenly. It's a really tough spot for them balancing market appeal with these external economic pressures.
And it's not just Nintendo feeling this. Industry groups, the ESA, the Consumer Tech Association, they're warning these tariffs could hurt the whole games industry, lead to price hikes everywhere.
Yeah, it's a wider concern. Could make consoles, games, accessories more expensive across the board, which isn't great for consumers or the industry's growth.
Interestingly, though, this seems very U.S. specific right now. Pre-orders in the UK are apparently going ahead. No talk of delays or price changes there.
That's right. And reports say some UK retailers even sold out their initial allocation quickly. Shows the demand is there at the announced price point, just not with this added tariff uncertainty in the US.
It really highlights the impact of these specific U.S. policies. And you have to wonder how Nintendo is reacting internally.
Some former Nintendo marketing folks have speculated they're likely surprised by the backlash on price and are probably in full war room mode trying to figure out the best path forward.
Yeah, some even criticize them for not announcing the price during the Direct, calling it a bit disrespectful given the hike.
It probably didn't help manage expectations, leaving the price reveal until later when the sticker shock could hit harder, especially combined with the tariff news breaking around the same time.
So, wrapping it all up, it's a weird mix, isn't it? On one hand, a genuinely exciting, powerful new console, amazing-looking games, GameCube classics, tons of potential.
Absolutely. The tech and software side looks incredibly strong. Really promising.
But on the other hand, you've got this really controversial price point, made even more complicated and uncertain by these tariffs, specifically impacting the huge U.S. market.
It's created this real tension. Excitement for the product versus anxiety about the cost and availability. It's definitely taken some of the shine off the reveal for many.
Which leaves us with the big question, I guess. How does this tariff situation shake out for the Switch 2 in the U.S.? Does Nintendo eat the cost? Do they raise the price? And how will gamers react if it does end up closer to, say, $600? That's a very different proposition.
Those are the $1 million or maybe $600 questions right now. The U.S. is such a critical market. How they navigate this could really define the Switch 2's early success or struggles in the region. It's the situation we'll absolutely be tracking.
Definitely keep an eye on it. And hey, for anyone wanting more details straight from the source, Nintendo did mention an upcoming Developers Talk video diving into the Switch 2's creation.
Right. We'll be back next week with more big gaming news.
See you then.